This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Diane Time is here. That's right, we're talking about the food of the gods on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal Patrick Hamlin, coming to you once again from Ireland. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we're dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. And we're going to unpack all the goriest details of Food of the Gods for Animal Attacks April in the hopes that a young, or not so young, island dweller's untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we might make at their expense. And as always, there is only one person I trust that when you're offered a ride away from your disabled vehicle, she'll say, yeah, we're not going to stay here near the giant rats. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
I thought you'd say I would be over here, like, hurriedly scooping goop into a mayonnaise jar so I could take it back to my dog food business.
I mean, we have got to. I kind of understand the A plus B equals dollar sign here. But I'm not entirely sure I do. There's a lot in the middle I don't understand about this dude's business plan.
Goop plus at food equals dollar sign.
Yeah, I guess he's... Oh, listen, let's introduce our guest, and then we can really understand this, because I don't want to alarm you, Gina, but we are not alone. That is right, we have a special guest. You know him as an actor, as a comedian, and of course, from the Video Garage, where he watches videotapes that he's found or been given from all over the place. And he's one of my favorite social media presences on the internet. The one, the only Matt McCarthy. How are you doing today, Matt?
Well, hello there.
I'm so happy to have you on board. And I reached out to you when you highlighted the fact that you own this on Blu-ray, an affectation I happened to share. And I said, well, there's only so many people with that kind of sickness. That person would probably come on the show to talk about this movie.
Yeah, Kino Lorber put out a great Blu-ray of this not too long ago in the Kino Cult. This is number 10. They did kind of a series in a row of nature fights back, eco horror movies. But I already owned it on DVD in the MGM Midnight Movies label that I absolutely love, and now it's starting to line up. Some of the more recent Kino Cults have been titles that were released under the Midnight Movies label, so it's nice to get some Blu-ray upgrades to some of these fine pieces of cinema, such as Food of the Gods.
A fine piece of cinema is an apt and interesting way to put this. Yeah, I was thrilled. Recently, they announced that Hello, Mary Lou Prom Night 2, another great MGM DVD release, was finally coming to Blu-ray. And that's when I knew, oh, the world really is ending. Because people have been trying to put out Hello, Mary Lou for years. And the rights holders were like, no fucking way are we allowing this movie to be seen by a new audience. I don't know what their reticence was or why they kept saying no, but finally they said yes. But that's for what we talked about Hello, Mary Lou in 2018. So let's get back to the subject at hand, and that is The Food of the Gods from 1976. Bert, I filmed this in slow motion. Gordon.
Mr. Big.
Matt, when was the first time you watched The Food of the Gods?
I don't know. It must have been on television at some point in my younger days, but once I got my hands on the DVD, it made its way onto the player a number of times, and then the Blu-ray's just delightful.
You really get a flavor for what's going on.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the type of movie that I'm like, you're flipping channels and you get on a UHF. Just some random, either like a Saturday afternoon and it's just, there's nothing else on. So I'm going to start watching this, or like my brother who's like 9 years older is like, oh, this is ridiculous. We should watch this. Or like I was homesick from school. So it was definitely a television broadcast of just no one's around. Did I actually see this movie? What is this thing?
Mine was definitely a Channel 13 KCOP afternoon or Saturday thing.
Right.
I don't think this was a big Elvira movie. I do know that she showed Empire of the Ants a fair amount. But
also a Mr. Big.
So my first viewings were absolutely Night of the Lupus, that sort of era.
Sure.
Seemed to come
Dr.
up a bunch.
McCoy.
Gina, what about you? When was the first time your eyes graced the majesty that is The Food of the Gods?
Well, I thought that I had seen it in its entirety before, but I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't really remember all this. So I think where I had seen it before is in bits and pieces, and I can't remember if it was featured in Terror in the Isles or it came from Hollywood. It's in one of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lupus is in Night of the Lupus is in
the one with the giant bugs that somehow managed to set a woman's hair on fire.
That's Bug. That's 1972's Bug.
And they like spell out the word bug on a wall.
Yeah.
That one I have seen. This one I don't. Obviously I remember, Ida Lupino, chopping at a giant rat with a kitchen hatchet. So I think that's the scene that stuck the most in my head. But yeah, I think I've only seen it in bits and pieces.
It makes sense. It does blend in a little bit with a lot, the Night of the Lupuses and everything.
Yeah, that one, I've seen that one. So yeah, I think I probably just kind of conflated it with other giant animal movies from the same time period.
Makes sense. And as I mentioned before, this is a Bert I. Gordon movie. Bert specialized in this sort of thing. He really loved giant stuff. You've got your King Dinosaur, your Amazing Colossal Man, Beginning of the End, Earth versus the Spider, and of course, Village of the Giants, which is one of the few movies to combine giant teenagers and bikini movies. Something I'm surprised did not become a bit of a
I love it because it's, we're giant. Let's go dance.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is spent with them. And I guess the theme song is so stuck in my head, the dun 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 dun, because they dance to it for a good half hour of the motion picture time. Even before they're giant, there's just any opportunity to do that go-go dance 60s thing that white people used to do, where they just thrust elbows and
they're shimmying.
A lot of white man overbite going on. I cannot get the theme of it out of my head, mainly because the giant bikini girls dance to the song and they're completely devoid of rhythm. In terms of reviews of this motion picture, they're quite choice. Everyone's favorite horror film fan, Gene Hammerschmidt Siskel, wrote, the heavy television ad campaign promises 6-foot roosters and panther-sized rats. What it should promise, if truth in labeling applied to film ads, is rotten special effects and a laughable script. Gene never holding back.
Can I read the beginning of the Roger Ebert review, because it's so funny.
Please.
Okay, so most guys who play pro ball, they get racked up every once in a while, observes the hero's buddy in Food of the Gods, but not old Joe. 7 years in the major leagues. He never got carried up to field even once. And then this had to happen to him. It really makes you think. It sure does. Old Joe had just gone and gotten himself stung to death by a giant killer wasp. I love how Ebert's review is essentially just explaining the entire plot of the movie and just like, I'm going to leave this up to you folks to decide what the quality of this movie was.
Why he's the only one who gets it from giant wasps is a little bit beyond me. I feel like the giant wasps are more dangerous. They're more mobile. They can attack from so many different places, but they don't have a white leader like the rats do. Why do they have a white leader?
I think that's the subtext.
Sometimes there's zero subtext. It just becomes text. And that is the territory we're in with The Food of the Gods.
I was curious, since we're reading reviews, I wanted to see what John Stanley, who wrote Creature Features, thought of it. And I'm a little surprised. I'm a little crestfallen. He gave it 1 star. Bird Eye Gordon wrote, produced, directed this horrible horror movie. And then at one point he says, Ida Lupita and Pamela Franklin, if they had 5,000 pounds of American cheese, they might have stood a chance.
We're just getting practical with it, honestly.
And then he follows it up like that's a pretty devastating right.
Yeah.
And then he follows it up with this left, just this complete uppercut. On second thought, Swiss would be better. It would match the thousands of holes in the plot.
Oh my.
Boom, roasted.
I refuse to believe there are any holes to this Cracker Jack plot. That just
am I crazy? Like, I mean, this movie's bad, but like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it on especially watching it with the commentary from the Blu-ray. It's like, you get the whole story. Well, first of all, you have to watch the right commentary track, because if you watch the commentary track with Mr. Big talking, like Bert Gordon, I don't know when they recorded it, but he died when he was 100.
Oh, so wow.
It's definitely towards the later end of that.
They caught him on 98 and a half.
I was going to say he's got a little of the Tom Carvel thing going on.
It's a little bit of the back end of the century, yeah. Because I mean, like the guy, there's somebody's interviewing him, leading him with these questions, and he's just giving him nothing. He's just like, so what do you remember about shooting this scene? He's just like, I don't know.
There's a scene playing? What's going on? Who are you? Where is my tapioca? I was promised tapioca.
It's like, so where was this scene shot? It's like, on the island where we shot the whole thing. I don't know.
Oh my. Well, one of the revelatory elements of the opening credits, and Gina also caught it when she texted me, was that this is, quote, based on a portion of the story by H.G. Wells.
Yeah.
And I assume that's when they got the portion discount, when they like, you only have to pay 25% for these rights because you're only using this part of it. The weird thing is, he had directed another portion of the book when he made Village of the Giants. So he's just dicing up segments of H.G. Wells novels to make the same movie over and over and over again. I'm always struck by how the movie begins. We open on the most sparsely attended football team practice I've ever seen. I assume they could only pay the NFL a portion of its licensing rights too. We are introduced to our main character, Morgan. Don't worry. Now, Matt, do you know a lot about Marjo Gortner, our lead actor in this motion picture?
I do. This guy's fascinating.
He is. It is a much more fascinating backstory than I think a lot of his on-screen presence tends to be. He's certainly a striking figure, but the way he came into modern media is kind of outrageous.
He was a child preacher in the 40s.
Yeah.
Like as young as 4 or 5. His parents got him into that racket.
And then later he ended up doing a documentary, basically, espousing all the bogus practices that went into for-profit evangelism and how they were able to do these things like know people's names and know their backstories and all that stuff. And he rode that star-making expose into the food of the gods and various other low-budget fares.
Yeah, it won the Academy Award for Best Documentary in '72.
He was in Earthquake.
Yes, Gina, you're absolutely right. He's also a part of one of my favorite, I'll put that in dick fingers, disaster movies, Earthquake. Predominantly because of how often they just point the camera at the Universal backlot and shake it. And then there's one scene in which Walter Matthau shows up in pimp gear, and it's never explained why. But whenever we have an earthquake in town, that is what I put up on social media. Oh, we had an earthquake. Here's Walter Matthau looking dour in the craziest fucking hat you've ever seen him don.
We just had a pretty good one the other day.
I completely missed it. I got up to get almonds, a handful of almonds, and that's all it takes. It seemed to be a decent roller, but I missed it all.
I was in the bathroom, which is an unenviable position to be in.
Yes. Once upon a time, I lived in Japan, and I was. They didn't want to buy me they didn't want to put me up in an apartment or house or anything, and so I had to live in a hotel room, which was not hard. It was not difficult, but I was like 23 floors up. And I too was in the bathroom one night when the entire building started to sway. And I was like, I got to get in a doorway. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? You're 23 floors up. You might as well keep pooping. If the place is coming down, a doorway is not helping me. That's if you're in a single story structure. That is if maybe you got a 2-story bedroom, but no. That's not going to help you on the 23rd fucking floor. Anyways, Marjo is playing Morgan, who's a football star.
He's like a 37-year-old professional football player.
Yes. I guess you have to be a star if your team only has 10 players on it. So there's that. Marjo Gortner has an interesting look. He kind of gives Wings Hauser if you left him in the oven too long. He's got a lot of hair. He's definitely a tall drink of water. But every time the camera turns in his direction, it kind of looks like he's about to ask for his next line.
Yeah, he always looks like he's there under duress.
Yes. Just like, you want me to do what? You want me to go where now? And his version of concern looks like he's just staring off into the middle distance sometimes. And the setup for this entire movie is that in order to relax for the upcoming game, not something I've heard a lot of professional ball players, concern themselves with. Usually you're preparing for a big game, but he's like, no. Go off, fuck off and do something that's not football related. Okay. Interesting coaching technique. So he's like, all right, go off to an island to rest up for the big 5-on-5 football game. I assume this is what happened to Aaron Rodgers. I don't follow a lot of football anymore. I like that Morgan's father in this VO that he has on the ferry warned him of an impending nature-based apocalypse with no further clues or tools to stop it or even survive. Just kind of like my dad. Like, one day the world will end. Okay, I'll think about that on the ferry one day.
Yeah, you didn't mention that there is opening narration to this, and also closing narration, in which he literally says it would be terrible if this substance got out, as you see a bottle of the substance just gently floating down a stream. Right. Indeed, it would be terrible.
It would be. And it would also be awesome if it was the origin of the substance, Gina.
That's true. That's true.
And before the audience asks, yes, this is the exact same filming location as 1998's Disturbing Behavior and the 2005 random scene generator version of John Carpenter's The Fog, a film so deadly boring, I fell asleep for it when I was supposed to be studying it for horror trivia.
The Fog?
Not the original Fog, the 2005 remake of The Fog.
Oh.
Yeah, I let that one pass right by me.
Well, it was the anniversary of it. It was coming up, and everyone was convinced they were going to ask questions about it because they definitely love to ask questions on anniversaries. And I suffered through this thing, and they didn't ask shit about it.
Well,
I wasted my time and everyone else's with the exception of the nap.
Who is like a resident Fog remake expert?
That's the thing about Dead Right horror trivia, Gina. They're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. I go there to have a good time. Other people go there to test their will. I don't know how Brian Collins or any of these people who are very good at it actually keep that stuff in their brain. Whereas right now, trying to remember who was in that version of The Fog, it's just gone. I don't remember who directed it. I'm just happy that John Carpenter received a check.
And so is John Carpenter.
He is smoking weed right now, watching an NBA game, living his best fucking life. And he should. And this is where we start the Give John Carpenter a fucking Oscar already campaign. I'm starting it here, starting it right now. We're getting this man a fucking Oscar. Are we going to let John Carpenter go off into that good night without giving him a fucking Oscar? Let's just do it already. Why not? We've got less than 1 year to make this happen. Come on, people. Let's.
I think wasn't Superman in that Fog movie? The guy from Smallville.
Yeah.
And a lost person.
Tom Welling.
Yeah. That sounds right.
I remember him being in it and no one else.
I know the blonde from Lost was in it during that time where people were like, hey, she's attractive and they killed her off. Let's do something with her. And no one could figure it out. This movie, however, getting back to Food of the Gods, has more establishing shots per minute than an entire Lifetime movie. It can't stop pointing the camera at a tree or a bush or just the sky and just going, hey, do you understand a lake is here? Yeah, I do. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out to me. You can just tell someone is off camera next to Bird Eye Gordon going, stretch.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing you've got to know about this movie is you get about for every 10 or 15 minutes of people arguing with each other, then you get about 2 minutes of rats climbing on matte paintings, toy cars, and dollhouses.
I mean,
but those parts are great.
Those parts are great.
Those parts are charming.
That is the thing, and we're big advocates of it here. When I see model work, when I see mats, my heart melts. That is my favorite fucking thing. Yes. Does it look real? Of course it doesn't look real. I don't come to Food of the Gods for reality. I've got enough of reality. I'm coming here for the fantasy of rats being able to malign a VW bug model.
I want to watch some turn over a car and see Matchbox underneath it.
And so Morgan and his buddies are out, and he tells us via voiceover that he loves nature. And that's why he's trying to run it down with dogs and horses. This is relaxing for him. He could just go for a ride, but he would like to panic the fuck out of this deer and harass it, I guess, for half an hour. And we get some very close-up shots of dogs nipping at a deer. And I'm like, I don't enjoy this part.
No.
One of Morgan's buddies decides to head deeper into the forest, and there he begins to hear buzzing in the background. Now, this is the moment where if your horse flees, that's when you should start thinking maybe that horse has a good idea. But this guy's like, no, I'm part of the Scooby Gang. I'm going to investigate what that noise is. Don't do that. That horse has the right idea. That horse lives. He doesn't. He ends up stung to death by giant wasps. He is this close to it's been a good run style death. He just stands there as the wasps the size of a bread box start stinging him all over his body.
Yeah, one of the funny things about this movie is that everybody tends to underreact.
Yeah.
To what's happening to them. Like you have a scene later where Ida Lupino, who's like, farmer wife,
Yes.
You discovers very large, they're grubs, I guess. They can bite apparently.
They're like the slugs in Slugs, Gina.
Right, but bigger. They're bigger than that.
Yeah.
And her reaction is and he's just kind of grunting while this like giant wasp is stinging to death and leaving his face looking like freshly risen bread dough.
He is plump when you cook him with
he's a little Pillsbury Doughboy.
His face looks so cool. It's all purple and stuff.
That's the best. I think that's a decent-ish effect. I mean, it was kind of gruesome.
Far and away, I think the best makeup effect in this. This is not a movie that has a ton of it. It has some loose limbs for the most part, but it's not high on the gore. And this is the most, gore it gets.
Wow. I mean, the guy in the VW Bug gets shredded.
He does, but you just see body parts. It's not like you're seeing a lot of visceral. They're not digging into his gut and pulling him apart like he's in a Tobe Hooper movie. There's like a struggle and then the after effect, but we're far from the sort of Friday the 13th revolution of I want to see a hatchet in that person's face sort of gore.
Hey man, they're out on an island in British Columbia. He's working with what he's got.
True. And now, it's never firmly established whether or not this is supposed to be Canada or supposed to be America. Is Canadian football played with 5 people on a side? Is it like flag football? Is that why the football team is so sparse?
That's a great question. I don't know.
CFL fans, come at me in the comments. We'd love to hear how the fuck it works. The closest I've come to ingesting Canadian football was when the Beaches played during like their version of the Super Bowl, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm going to watch that on YouTube." That's
I once rode in an elevator with Ron Simmons, who wrestled under the name Farouk.
He
played for the I think the Rough Riders.
Yeah, isn't that that's an Alberta-based team? My dad's Canadian, so I have some vague remembrance of that. Who knows? I'm sure people will tell us in the comments. They tell us everything else. So. That's a much cooler story than mine, which is I bumped into Ice-T and his wife coming out of marriage counseling. They seemed happier.
Is this Coco?
Coco?
Yes, this is Coco. My wife was her dentist happened to be in a very she Beverly Hills office building when we got together. And we were walking out and ran into them. And I was so starstruck by Ice-T.
Sure.
I just literally, I couldn't, I'm not cool, man. I can't handle it. When I see famous people, I generally start to hyperventilate. I can't keep it under control, which is why I will never be cool enough to hang.
Well, on a similar, I don't know if they were on the same show. They might have been, but I was walking into a diner once in Manhattan. And Richard Belzer was walking by.
Oh, wow.
And I said to my date, "Oh, hey, it's Richard Belzer." But he was close enough that he looked up and as a normal human being would when you hear your name, he just looks up and looks at me. And I was just like, I didn't know what to say to him. So we just went inside and he just kept walking by.
I mean, the fact that I know who you are is obviously, an indication that cool.
I was in college. It must have been very bizarre for Richard Belzer to be recognized by a random 19-year-old. And I was just like, "Oh, hey, look, it's Richard Belzer." There's no way the girl who knew who he was.
Yeah. I was in an elevator with Tony Danza on the Fox lot, and he was obviously going to a meeting and started tap dancing, soft showing behind me. And that was like, okay, I can't, he's going through a process. This isn't the time to say, "Hey, I enjoyed Who's the Boss when I was a child." You just sometimes you got to let it go.
It's somebody like air punching or something. You just got to let them do their thing.
I think he was letting his energy out because now he's going into a meeting with important people. And
that's right. Got to go in there and pitch Stealing Christmas Part 2. You ever see that?
Better way to do it than lay out some soft shoe. So he did have wonderful soft shoe. He was very flexible ankles, rhythmic. Like
the man's a talent.
Well, obviously, like he's been practicing. Like it helps him burn off energy. The man obviously has layers.
I remember seeing him in like a Page 6 article when he had his talk show, and it was like a frame by frame. It was 3 pictures next to each other. It was him roller skating or rollerblading in Central Park, filming himself with a video camera and falling. So it was the first picture was him. It looked fine. And then the next one, he's losing his balance. And the third one, he's just eating shit on the ground.
And see, we've all eaten shit in public. Like, I don't think there's a person alive who hasn't just taken a fucking tumble at the worst possible time. Like, I walked off a sidewalk, didn't realize how high it was, and I had my hands in my pocket. And if I hadn't had my hands in my coat, I would have been able to raise them and stop myself. But instead, I had to just smack my face against concrete. So, but nobody knows who the fuck I am. It's fine. When you're Tony Danza, that's gotta suck.
Just marring that beautiful face.
Yes.
That Danza visage.
Can't soft shoe your way out of this problem, Tony. Who's the boss? Gravity. Anyways. Morgan trots off to find help once he finds that his friend has been, wasp stung to death. And he happens upon the Skinner farm. Screen legend Isla Lupino who's accepting a paycheck here as Mrs. Skinner, a woman who has prayed to God above for giant chickens and never thought for 1 minute it would result in giant wasps or rats too. Also, this is a sequence in which Morgan wanders into a barn and has a confrontation with a giant cock. Am I reading that right?
You're technically reading that right.
He has a fight with a giant chicken puppet, but honestly, I think it's funny when it's a giant cock.
I don't know that the giant chicken this is pretty much my favorite scene in the whole movie. I was just like chortling watching this.
I do really enjoy the fact that the rooster and Morgan have the confrontation and the rest of the chickens are like, my name's Paul and this is between y'all. I'm not on anyone's side. Whoever comes out of this is allowed to fuck us and help us produce eggs. For whatever reason, Morgan he should be dead. There's no fucking way he's beating a 6-foot fucking chicken. And yet he absolutely does. And I'm not entirely sure why.
Because he gets a pitchfork. What's the rooster going to do?
Well, the rooster has all those sharp claws on the bottom. That's why why idiots force them to fight against one another. That rooster should have ripped the shit out of him. Between that and a beak, I would take that beak over a pitchfork any day of the week.
Oh man, you're nuts. You've never fallen off of the roof of a barn and landed butt first on a pitchfork like in a Roadrunner cartoon, man. That's
McCarthy, you got me there. I'll be honest with you. That isn't something I've experienced.
Because here's the thing, like, man, CGI is the worst. Because if they made this movie today, he'd be like, first of all, it would be like Jason Bourne kung fu fighting with the CGI friggin', like he goes into that barn and it's the coolest looking, just this giant rooster head, just some crew guy is just hitting him in the face with it. It's the best, man. And then when he pieces out, he takes a powder. It's just like footage of actual chickens that has like the perspective is just forced. And he's just looking at nothing as though he were a CGI actor in a Marvel movie.
He has no tennis ball. Tennis balls don't exist. Right. He's just told you're looking at a dead giant chicken. And honestly, he conveys that as much as he conveys anything else, which is not much.
Somebody's got to have, like, that rooster head, that has to be out there somewhere. Like, somebody has that in a collection or something,
Forrest J. Ackerman has to have that in his fucking garage.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's in somebody's garage, like Falcor from The Neverending Story. Just some garage in New Jersey.
Did you know that the guy that did the voice of Skeletor was the voice of Falcor?
No.
I didn't realize he was at Collecticon the other weekend. I was looking at his sign. I was like, holy shit. It was just, of course, he's ancient now, you know. And I'm like looking at the sign of like all the different voices he did. I'm just like, God, get out of here. This guy's amazing. He was Merman and shit. But he's the rock biter. He was everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, I feel like there was space in this industry where you could exist in these weird roles for a really long time. Like I'm in TV promo, and I often think, like, if I had been born just 30 years earlier, I would have fucking cleaned up writing ads, you know, promo within TV Guide for like different strokes. I would have murdered at that. I would have had a house in the Palisades that burned down. I would have earned coin doing these things. There's no place to do it anymore. It just doesn't fucking exist. And yeah, like, where does a guy who is a good giant rock monster or skeleton face make money these days?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
God, it seems like a growth industry. And yet, we still need skeleton faces these days.
Sure.
More than ever.
Yeah. I mean, if not now, when?
Also, I think pound for pound, Gina, and correct me if I'm wrong here, this is the most vehicle loading and ferry travel we've ever covered on the show.
Oh, there's so much, you swapping between vehicles and people standing around vehicles and people arguing over what vehicles to get in and vehicles not starting and vehicles breaking down. Yeah, there's a lot of vehicles in this.
You get to see every part of this process.
You get to see exciting shots of a middle-aged man loading the trunk of his car with mayonnaise jars.
Listen, you might pay for the full seat, but you'll only need the edge until that ferry pulls off. And then he's, as you know, Matt mentioned earlier, or maybe it was Eugenia, they have this conversation like, I can't believe this guy who never had a football injury was stung by 1,000,000 wasps and died.
Your number's up. That's what you never know. You wake up one morning, you're like, well, maybe I'll get stung by a giant wasp to death today.
Yeah, sometimes you win the game. Sometimes you're stung to death in the forest when your horse runs away.
Sometimes your face looks like pizza dough.
You look like a honey-baked ham that used to have eyes. It's, you will believe a fairy can talk because you just see it over and over and over again. Once Morgan hits the mainland, then we get deeper into Mrs. Skinner territory. And she's very comfortable on screen. Now, she's a screen legend, Ida Lupino. But I will say, visitors to the Evil Dead cabin have a less troubled time inside than Mrs. Skinner does.
Oh, yeah. This cabin is haunted.
It absolutely is. And part of it is that it's justified when she discovers that giant creatures have raided her pantry and can open screw top jars.
Yeah, they also, in addition to the miracle goop making them very, very big, it also apparently gave them opposable thumbs.
Yeah. She's attacked by giant maggots, and her reaction is similar to what we saw in Slugs, which is to just stand there and take it.
And it's like kind of, grunt in dismay. I don't know about you, but like if a giant maggot, let alone 3 or 4 giant maggots just came and attached themselves to my arm, I'm just dropping dead right there. Like just instant heart attack. I'm just, forget it.
Let them take you into that sweet good night.
Exactly. It's like like it was Big Jim's time to get killed by a giant wasp. So is it my time to get eaten? I guess by giant maggots.
I think you might be into it simply because she also gets covered in what appears to be Twizzler juice.
She does. She's got a lot. She's also gooped. A lot of goop in this.
It is. It's a surprisingly goopy movie considering that you get a lot of wet rat, you get a lot of goop out of the ground. The wasps are transparent, so they're not really wet as much.
When they shoot them, they kind of explode into black smoke.
Yes,
which I don't really understand that.
It's like the vampires in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I'm like, did they get hit with sunlight? What happened here?
There's poof. into a million pieces. A couple of them, like maybe you get a wing staying around, but
well, here's the thing, Patrick. You said like it's a goopy movie. Like all the problems start because of goop. Like the goop that comes out of the ground that Farmer Skinner says, "Well, let's feed this to the chickens."
Yes,
we don't know
but
what
you have to mix it with chicken feed because they won't just eat it. His first impulse is, I gotta get animals to eat this.
We don't know what it is. It's just bubbling up from the ground. This will be good to put into a living creature.
And it's a natural resource that's unique to them. So of course, her husband, who we meet at this point in this, also on the ferry. Thank God. We know what happens in the morning ferry and the afternoon ferry.
They really spent much of the budget for this movie on ferry tickets for the crew.
just paying $2 a head to ride it back and forth. And Mr. Skinner is on his way home. He manages to catch a flat and almost immediately is eaten by giant rats inside his 124 Revell model VW Beetle. He died like he lived, eaten by rats. Just gonna pour one out.
For Farmer Skinner, everything was your fault. You did nothing.
I will say, if there's one limitation to the movie, I would say it is the musical accompaniment. I would say The Munsters has a more subtle soundtrack overall. It's very TV. It's very all over the place. There's not really a cohesive theme. There's just a lot of timpani and a lot of brass work. But Morgan and his unenthusiastic pal Brian, who, it is implied, must personally sell tickets to their football games in order for people to see them play, decide they're going to go back and solve the murder of their friend. And this is when we cut to another character, two more new characters. Meet Bensington. He looks like a Bond villain. He doesn't like to stop at the scene of rat murders. He doesn't like to help pregnant ladies on the side of the road. And he doesn't like female bacteriologists, even though he employs one.
So here's a question, Patrick, I must ask you. Who is more quickly and clumsily set up as a villain in an animal attack movie? Is it this guy or is it Leslie Nielsen in Day of the Animals? Because I feel like Leslie Nielsen at least puts on the facade of being charming initially. Yeah. And then after a few minutes, like, oh, okay, this guy's an asshole. Whereas this guy and his assistant, they drive right past the pregnant lady, calling for help. And his assistant like, why don't you stop? You should stop. Why? It's just like, oh, okay, you're going to die at some point.
Matt, I assume you've also seen Day of the Animals because I think it's almost the same year as this one came out. Have you?
Is it? I don't know if I know that one.
It is filled with all sorts of people, including Leslie Nielsen, who ostensibly plays a guy who pays for a backpacking trip and then starts harassing the two guys who are guiding them on the trip. Like they don't know what they're doing. And he's terrible. And he goes from 0 to sexual assault so fast once wolves start attacking.
Yeah, that one's a pretty standard like was it the animals went crazy because of some sort of like noise or something like that? It was like a high frequency signal or something like that.
I believe it is a comet the same way that Maximum Overdrive makes the cars come alive.
And these aren't giant animals, they're just regular animals, but they turn on humans.
The 1970s, really that time when everyone started to explore, I don't know, Time Magazine said God is dead. Maybe Bigfoot is real? People just took leaps. Aliens, comets making animals go crazy.
Pollution leading to mutant bears.
Oh, God. I just shout out to that sleeping bag death from that movie. Oh, my God. What a motion picture.
John Stanley gives it 2.5 stars.
Day of the Animals?
Day of the Animals. Earth's ozone layer is damaged by aerosol and turns animals into killers.
That's what it is. It's definitely atmospheric. It's the ozone layer. Something we will never come together and actually fix.
It was also released as Something is Out There.
Yeah, it's a little too vague, I think.
It really needs to be a Day of the Animals.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? The animals, it's too specific. If people don't like animals, they're not going to want to see this thing. Just change it to something.
Why should it be a day?
The day
just
is
let
something?
people know that something's out there.
Boss, you wanted to call it the day of something? Just something's out there. I don't know. I'm trying to move some video cassettes. Christ. I got a meeting with Tony Danza in 5 minutes. We need to wrap this up.
He must be nervous. I can hear the soft shoe already. Now, his female bacteriologist, Bensington, her name is Lorna, and she is wearing a winter beanie the size of a football helmet. She looks like a conehead going undercover at a skis chalet.
That's intentional.
That she's got a big, big head.
Do you know the story about this?
I do not know. I loved it.
Every scene Pamela Franklin is in, she's wearing clothes to like offset. Like she has this huge. I mean, they're shooting it in winter. There was a blizzard that hit while they were shooting. They shot a bunch of exteriors. They were supposed to be there for 10 days. They wound up being there for 6 weeks. They shot a bunch of exteriors. Then all of a sudden, it snows, and he's like, Mr. Big's like, all right, we're going to shoot all the interiors now. They shoot all the interiors and the snow has not melted. So then he's out there, they're out there, the crew, they're trying to melt the snow. So of course they got away with her wearing winter jackets and such. She showed up. Her agent was like, don't say anything. Just go do the job. She was pregnant. She showed up to the gig pregnant. And I'm not talking about Belinda Blasky, who plays a pregnant woman in this movie. Pamela Franklin shows up pregnant and doesn't tell the director. So then he's like, God, he's like, we can't have our female lead just inexplicably pregnant while there's already another character who is pregnant. So then they did like when, what's her name? When Claire Huxtable was pregnant in real life, but they were trying to hide it on the Cosby Show.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They just wrapped her in as much layers as they could.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's so like she's got this giant hat on her head to try to like offset how big the rest of her body is because of, you know, the delicate state she's in. It's incredible. This movie is absolutely astounding.
I think that's even better than any rationale I could have put together. I don't think anything explains why exactly Bensington, the actor portraying him, talks like he's got marbles in his mouth. He cannot enunciate for shit. I don't know if he's trying to be Edward G. Robinson in this or what's going on, but he has real trouble with plosives. When his lips are supposed to touch, he's like, nah. No, we're supposed to understand the words coming out of your mouth, sir. You can tell that Bensington is a professional because he can't tell the difference between a dead giant chicken in a barn or ostrich feathers. It's like anyone could make this. Not necessarily. These were living creatures mere moments ago. And then Mrs. Skinner mistakes Bensington and Lorna for giant rats and almost cleavers Lorna to death. And that might sound far-fetched, but again, you have to look at Lorna's outfit here. She is a vision in beige and, as Matt has noted, is hiding a pregnancy, which I guess might make you look more like a giant rat. I don't really know.
I mean, she could like, look like, two giant rats disguised as a human.
I mean, she's pumping blood for two, so there's a lot. She's emitting a lot of heat.
Yeah, she's an oven at that moment in time. But this is when we are introduced to the real secret of the movie. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is goo. Texas G. Beige gold, I tell you. The goo makes baby animals grow. They eat the smaller ones. Then the rats eat them. It's a perfect system. I had not remembered that the food of the gods is actually a spontaneous oatmeal fountain out of the ground. It's gruel gone wild.
And like I said, we're just scooping it up in mason jars, in mayonnaise jars, having it helpfully marked FOTG, which cracks me up.
I know, right?
It's like you don't want to mix this up with the marshmallow fluff or anything.
Yeah, this isn't the oatmeal that we've been jarring. I don't want I don't want Mr. Skinner to come in here and think this is the pickled cream of wheat.
Right. Just taking a big old spoonful of it in the middle of the night.
You've been canning steel oats for winter.
That's the vodka.
So Bensington, Lorna, and Mrs. Skinner are at the farm. We luckily see another ferry ride. And then Morgan and Brian arrive just in the nick of time. And good news, everyone. Morgan has a box full of shotguns in the back of his Jeep. And they just start cracking these wasps out of the sky. Again, I'm not entirely sure why the other guy couldn't shoot these wasps. I guess he didn't have a shotgun. That's probably the big reason. All right, that might get edited out. That's fucking stupid.
Well, he was in shock, too. That's the other problem. True. That's why he didn't have a big reaction.
That's right. Morgan's seen a giant cock. So he's coming into this with the idea of, I'm going to see big things. And he's not as thrown by the concept. Brian just does whatever Morgan says.
That's right. And he saw that big rooster on top of it.
Yeah. They shoot these wasps into dust, but no one seems to take this as, this is a warning. You've seen giant wasps attack. It's time to leave. It's time to go. And instead, everyone's like, let's settle in, everybody. And that's when the banter, quote unquote, between Morgan and Lorna starts. And it has to be some of the most painful moments in this entire film. She's flirting, and Marjoe Gortner is reciting words in the order in which they were written in the script. It is both delightful from a bad movie standpoint, and I have to think behind the camera, they're just rubbing their temples.
He basically draws her attention when he gets into a little spat with Bensington, and like she's literally like just giving him hard eyes.
Yes. It has really lubricated the works, that's for sure. Just standing up to this one asshole, which I assume he gets on the regular basis. Probably not at work, but in real life, who the fuck would allow this guy to abuse them in such manner? But she just is like, wow, I love a guy who can shoot a giant wasp. But unfortunately for the movie, in this one circumstance, I have to say Alf had more chemistry with co-stars than these two had.
You don't buy this passion between these two?
No. The moment in which, in the midst of multiple rat attacks, she goes, I would like you to make love to me.
Yeah, she's like, this might sound crazy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It might.
Like he's making like Molotov cocktails, and she's looking out, like she's peering through the windows that have been boarded up, and she's like, look, you're gonna think I'm nuts, but I wish you would make love to me. And he's literally like, look, we can finish this conversation when we get off this island.
Yeah. I mean, at least he does that. I know.
That's how dire the situation is. Some dude in the mid-70s is turning down getting laid.
Yeah, because you got other disasters where he decides they're going to hash out their problems like right in the middle of everything. I do like when a character's like, can we just talk about this later?
Right. Some football play without a helmet, football shotgun meathead is just in the mid-70s at the height of the sexual revolution. He's just like, look, let's put a pin in this.
If I kiss you, will you stop talking about this for 2 minutes?
If I Roger Moore kiss you with my very cinched lips onto your face, will that get us through the next rat attack? And then we can discuss the giant cock, okay? Let's just get through this. What we haven't discussed is our pregnant couple. It's Thomas and Rita. She doesn't want to get married because she thinks it'll change the relationship. And he wants to. And neither of them have considered for 1 second that heading into the fucking woods when you are nearly 9 months pregnant was a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm like, whose idea was this? To take a trip to an isolated island, when you are that close to going into labor.
All I know is Bert I. Gordon saw the cover of Ms. Magazine. It's like, that's my new subplot.
Yeah. Like these two are definitely giving like hippies living off the grid. They're set. They're staying in those woods, and she's like, it's second wave feminism. She's like, I'm going to keep my name. I don't even know if I want to get married to you. These two, it's a delightful addition to everything that's happening in the Food of the Gods.
And it's so, I love that actress. Obviously, like, I love her from The Howling.
Yeah, Melinda Balaski.
Yeah.
She's in like every Joe Dante movie.
She's just a very grounded individual. She's a great person to put up against the fantastic. And I have to say, I think she's like the best part of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
No disrespect to Ida Lupino, who's trying to chew the scenery every chance she gets. She's just very grounded, and you feel the emotion from her. She's trying to do her best here.
Well, she said, like, because in the climax, when they're up on the roof, on the balcony, the direction, this was the direction Mr. Big gave her. I want you to scream. And so
okay.
She's like, Bert, I've been screaming for 3 days in this movie. Like it doesn't mean anything anymore. Her pitch is, I should open my mouth, like when the big white rat comes around the corner.
Yeah.
She's like, my pitch is, I should open my mouth and nothing comes out.
Sure.
And he's like, no, that sucks. I just want you to scream as loud as you can. So every time he called action, she refused to scream. She's like, this is stupid. It's meaningless. And she kept doing she can't make a noise.
Yeah.
And he would call cut, and he would just start yelling at her. He's like, you're supposed to scream. This is the biggest scream of the movie. And she kept refusing to do it.
Her into a moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So then finally, she says he gets so frustrated, he just goes, cut, and calls for lunch. And then everyone realizes it's 7:00 in the morning. They just started. And he storms off. He can't even deal with her.
I have a feeling that Bert he had trouble in the 70s with the whole, I'm a woman and I have something to say about what I'm doing in this workplace.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as an actor's director.
No, he's a big giant stuffed animal director.
Yes, he loves to work with a giant cock operated by a grip off screen. He's great in that circumstance, but probably not the best person.
I doubt it.
Absolutely nothing is preventing any of these people at this moment from heading off to retrieve backup or support from authorities or just alert the town that giant rats are on the loose. But instead, they're making improvised bombs out of fertilizer and gasoline, and it works against the wasps, but they're asking zero questions about what else is out there. It's like, we get rid of the wasps, we should be fine. They obviously tore open the barn and killed all the chickens. Like, no one thinks, what should we do next? They should all just drive away, and they refuse to.
Well, that's not the football way. It's we're a team, and we're not going to leave this problem for somebody else. It's up to us to fix this.
I'd like to remind the audience, if they don't know, Morgan is not the quarterback. He is a wide receiver. I don't know why everyone listens to him, because every plan, while semi-effective, does kill at least one person in execution.
Look at the statistics. How many members of the NFL have committed murder? I rest my case.
I mean, it's also a growth industry in the sense that we just started taking those statistics.
That's right.
And so when you look back at it, who knows how many NFL players got away with murder?
That's right.
Even considered them possible criminals.
How many of them have committed murder? How many of them have abused animals? This is the guy you want when you're on the island with the food of the gods, rats, bearing down on your neck.
And while he does kill a fair amount of animals, he also ends up killing a fair amount of the cast along the way. During this explosion of the wasp thing, somehow, in a sequence we are not allowed to see, Lorna ends up in a fucking well like she's a toddler in Texas. So Mrs. Skinner's like, hey, we've got other problems. Lorna's down a well. And Bensington is off to the side like, I'm going to make some snide remarks. This doesn't mean anything to me. What female bacteriologist? I don't know this person.
Yeah, he's just absolutely uninterested in helping in any appreciable way.
Why in this moment does Morgan go down the well? Like, he puts too much stress on the rope and the log. And therefore, when they're trying to get out, it collapses and brings the entire structure down on top of them, almost killing them both. Again, Morgan should not be doing the planning here. But it helps with the idea that Morgan ends up playing the rest of this entire movie with a concussion. That I buy. Morgan and Brian managed to fuck up that situation. Morgan ends up trapped in the well with Lorna. And this was the moment where I was like, this is how we've evolved in approaching these movies. And it's been interesting over the course of the 4 or 5 years we've been doing Animal Attacks. April, Gina, compare this to a movie like Crawl, and let's take technology out of this. It's not that in Crawl, those characters don't make stupid decisions on occasion. It's just that those stupid decisions have more to do with emotional issues that they have, or they're attached to somebody. And so they make irrational decisions based on, I got to get my dad despite this hurricane coming. And you understand that component. And then for the rest of the movie, they're trying to make the best decision they can out of a limited amount of options. And it allows you to really enjoy those characters a little bit more because, not every decision is going to be the smartest, but when they do make a smart decision, you're like, holy shit, I'm so glad there's a little bit more thought and care. Granted, Bird-Eye Gordon is not in the thought and care business. He's in the I'm here to deliver giant rats business. And for that, he's great at it. But he does tend to let these characters dangle a little bit in the how stupid they act department. And I just enjoy the growth in the genre overall.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking about the other day, horror movies are always a little bit more impactful if you actually care about the characters and what happens to them. I'm actually surprised that more characters survive than I expected.
Over the course of the movie, I think the characters I end up caring about the most were the giant rats. Because of how they're dispatched with shotguns, Bird-Eye Gordon, I couldn't quite figure this out. And this is when I started dipping into the special features. They're shot with basically a goo of food coloring, but they're shot with it so hard that they do fly out of frame. We are seeing low-level animal abuse here. It does take away from my enjoyment ever so much.
Yeah, I couldn't help but wonder when they finally end up just drowning them in the end. It's like, did they just throw a bunch of rats into a tank of water and just film them, flailing around?
I'm sorry to confirm, but yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, listeners, if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, there's your warning.
It is really fun when you discover that rats can growl like cougars. That's good.
Well, we knew that. We knew that from Graveyard Shift.
That's true. Graveyard Shift does have a lot of growling.
They're roaring. Those rats are roaring.
Dude, that fucking main accent, what's his name does, the dad from Monster Squad, is off the charts.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's
even
wonderful.
in the Stephen King universe, that is an absurd main accent.
Stephen King is off to the side going, I don't know, I think we're going a little hard. Oh wow. That movie is the sweatiest film I think we've
It's so sweaty, my God.
It's sweaty, it's filthy, everybody's disgusting.
It's better than I remembered it from when I was a kid watching it on HBO or something.
We did that one 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Oops All Rats.
Yeah.
And this was the loser out of the Oops All Rats bracket for Animal Attacks, unfortunately. But I'm glad we get to talk about it now.
Very quickly, though, on the animal cruelty warning, have you guys ever come across Calamity of Snakes?
Ooh, no.
It's from, God, what country is it from? Burma or... It's
Southeast Asian.
Yeah, it is. It's from. It's all I keep saying. Every time I not every time I watch it. I've only watched it once. When you put in the Blu-ray, literally the menu screen is animal cruelty free version or original cut.
Oh no!
And all I keep saying, in my review of it, I was like, look, different time in a different culture. And they apparently there's just something about just the wanton murder of snakes that is just A-okay in, God, I wish I could think, I wish I could remember what country it's in, but yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's honestly, I mean, if you watch the cruelty free version, it's not half bad, but yeah.
According to Wikipedia, not to say that there's
the Cambodia
on the subject. It's an international co-production of Taiwan and Hong Kong.
Okay, so Taiwan. It was the country's real first step into cinema or horror movies. But yeah, it's there's, real footage from like the wet market and, there's different types of venom they sell for, virility and health benefits and all that stuff. But on the one hand, it is very fascinating to see footage from this culture from 50 years ago, but that are the same. And the plot of the movie, I'm sorry to digress so much, but the plot of the movie is about how don't kill snakes. It will cause bad things to happen to you. And they're making a movie where they're actually killing the snakes to tell this story.
Oh, boy. Yeah. The posters for this look fantastic.
Well, there's a scene in it where a guy gets eaten by a huge snake, like fake, obviously, but it's phenomenal.
I can't wait. There's a trailer on YouTube. Apparently it's on Tubi, but I don't know what version it is. Oh, I got to dig into this. We might have you back.
You're going to be watching the graveyard shift. Calamity of snakes down there.
And then there's just one king snake that happens to have wings. Oh, what a motion
It's a trip.
picture.
It really is a trip.
So at a certain point, Bensington starts to, as Gina alluded to earlier, just scoop up goo in any container he can find, including using a teacup and putting it in a bucket. And he tells Lorna that if they take this stuff right now and leave, that they'll be so rich, they'll be able to wipe their poop with $100 bills and you won't even have to count it. And I think if you're at the point where you're wiping your ass with $100 bills, counting is really not an issue that I would like. 100, 200. I'm not even doing that now. Why would I start to do it with money? I don't understand how he's a businessman.
I'm not sure what his business is going to be. I think it said like Wikipedia said he was like a dog food company owner.
Yeah, I think the goal is to make the feed, whatever he's making into dog food, so large that he would then it would cut his costs so much. And then he starts to have, delusions of grandeur where he's going to solve world hunger by making big chickens and cows and whatnot. And she's like, what are you going to feed them, asshole? He's like, I don't know, big plants.
Yeah, he said,
we'll work that out later.
I'm going to figure out how to make the plants grow with it. I think
we've got enough fucking problems. He's going to make big plants. Did he not see the giant, toothy maggots in the fucking kitchen? Come on, dude. Put two and two together.
My favorite part of this whole bit, though, is when Marjo comes back and he starts like just pulling all the jars out of the guy's car, like throwing them to the ground. The guy's like, stop that.
No.
What are you doing? No. Like all of a sudden.
My precious jaws.
Like his entire attitude just completely changes.
No, I made all those jaws and now they're gone. I need new jaws.
And then like 6 rats just jump him and he's like, well, I had a good run.
Yes. I mean, it's a string of people that Morgan puts in danger's way. It starts, though, with Brian here when they go and they're like, all right, we're going to electrify this fence and we're going to herd them all into the water and they won't be able to swim because they're so much heavier now, which does prove to be true. But then all it takes is the rats going, well, if we fuck up that generator with a tree and crawl over the fence using the tree, we'll just eat you. And guess what? They do. And Brian gets in the worst way possible. We get the full, oh God, no, Friday the 13th part 2 death. We're just hearing someone get eaten in real time. And for whatever reason, Marjo Gortner only has to battle one rat while Brian has an entire baker's dozen on his ass.
Yeah, I think he had like pellets in his pockets or something. They were really drawn to him.
It was a bad day to bring popcorn for snacking in your big winter pockets.
No, my baby bells.
Why did I bring granola bars today? Farewell, you dumb prince of football ticket sales, Brian. And then he gets Bensington killed after smashing all his precious jars.
He's good. My God.
And this is where someone just screams out, it looks like the white one is the leader. And guess what? of course, the white one is the fucking leader. Like, this movie has no subtlety whatsoever. Like, it has to be the leader. It's got red eyes. Like, okay, fine, whatever. But we also learned that rats can turn door handles at a certain point.
They said they grew opposable thumbs.
That's when Lorna goes, hey, I know we're in between giant rat attacks and you're making a bomb for some reason out of the only shotgun shells we have. And we have zero chemistry. And you're like a semi-sentient slab of meat. But maybe we fuck right now. And for whatever reason, he's like, no, I'm just going to give you the biggest dry, cinched mouth kiss I can possibly do. And that'll have to satisfy.
I'm going to show you why you really don't want that.
I'm going to give you all the reasons you need to back out of this proposal.
I'm just laughing thinking about like Morgan's like he winds up just keeping like a little envelope full of the food of the gods. He's just like, oh man, when me and Lorna get together, I'm just gonna rub this on my cock and balls. I'm gonna give her that good loving.
I'm gonna have the kind of penis that can open and close doors on its own.
All of a sudden, sprinkle this on and fucking open a jar with my dick.
Check this out.
It just gets prehensile.
Yeah,
sure. Downstairs though, Rita is really going through it in terms of her birth, and she starts to go down a dark alley in her mind because she's like, I used to fantasize about the most horrible deaths. You sound so fun, Rita. I'm so glad I'm stuck in this house with you. It just feels like we're all building towards a terrible plan. And it comes to a head when Morgan starts busting apart all of these gunpowder caps and making improvised explosive devices. And so he takes all the guns, all the ammo, all the bullets, with him and Thomas, and they just take off in a fucking Jeep in between rat attacks, leaving Rita, Lorna, and Mrs. Skinner inside. And another plan where Morgan gets somebody killed. That's right, baby. This is a picture wrap, an Ida Lupino, as she hacks away at a giant rat puppet with a meat cleaver, and it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
Do you know the story behind this?
No, I do not.
This was Ida Lupino wrote this. For anybody listening who doesn't know, like this woman was a legend in Hollywood, director. She directed a Twilight Zone.
She was one of two women to direct a movie during the 1940s within the studio system. And like, she was ballsy and she fucking kicked ass.
So cut to her in, she's probably in her late 60s. They're on this island. They're supposed to be there 10 days. They're there 6 weeks. Apparently she starts going crazy because there's nothing to do on the island. They're just, there's no clubs, there's no cafes, there's nowhere for her to hang out. It's just them hanging out together after shoots. And apparently it would be like Ralph Meeker, who played Bensington, would play the piano, and Ida Lupino would lay on top of the baby grand and sing for everybody. And Marjo would cook. Apparently, he would cook dinner every night for everybody.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's wild.
I'm surprised he has skills because he displays so few on screen. So I'm encouraged by this hidden cachet of technique within him.
So apparently, this is apparently true. She was supposed to be one of the only survivors in the original script. And then she, early one morning, she told Mr. Big, she pulls Bird aside and is like, I wrote my death scene and you need to figure out time to shoot this today because I'm leaving. I'm going to be on the 4 p.m. ferry. So, and he's like, but you're supposed to survive the movie. Your character's, and she goes, well, be that as it may, you need to figure something out because whether you shoot this scene that I wrote or not, I'm leaving on the 4 p.m. ferry. And sure enough, they shot the scene where the big rat comes through. She fights it in the kitchen, and she was on that 4 p.m. ferry. She's like, goodbye, food of the gods.
God bless.
Do you want to take a shower or anything? Nope. I want to be on that fucking ferry.
I'm just going to leave fake blood on. That way people won't sit next to me. It'll be great.
Yeah. You know where to send the check. I'm out. Good for her. And
for real.
Because it doesn't sound like the rest of this movie was a lot of fun to make as you reach the end. Because Morgan and Thomas go and blow up a dam we've never heard about before. And Rita gives birth. The whole valley floods, leaving the survivors on the roof of the cabin, surrounded by real drowning rats, unfortunately. And then Dear Leader Rat is killed by multiple blows to the skull for Marjo Gortner. And the water eventually recedes, and Morgan and Thomas pile up the drowned rodents to burn them. And so my big question is, how flammable are wet rats?
The answer might surprise you after this.
Like, they have a little gas left, but at the end of the day, it's not like if you pour gasoline on a quarter of the giant pile of dead rats, that it'd be enough combustion to catch the rest of them on fucking fire. Okay. I don't come to Food of the Gods for realism. But of course, in the aftermath of this, during Marjo Gortner's, lengthy voiceover, it says, wouldn't it be terrible if any of that food got away? And of course, the camera immediately cuts to 2 jars floating down an improvised river, and they end up in a cattle herd's watering hole. And then their milk is processed and given to children at school. And that's why we should not have free school breakfast and lunch.
Thank you.
And this is why the Department of Education must be abolished.
Gotta shut them down. We're going to end up with giant milk kids. And then how are we going to feed them, everybody? Who has the answers for that? Woke? I don't think so. I don't even know what that word
And
means.
did you see how diverse that classroom was of children at the end of the movie?
Oh, yeah. That's a real Sesame Street level.
The children of St. John's Elementary School or something. They were thanked at the end of the end of the movie in the credits.
Thank you for drinking milk.
Thank you for letting us film you drinking milk.
Something that should end up putting you on a watch list. We need to film children drinking milk in the spookiest manner possible. Does anyone have any final thoughts on 1976's The Food of the God?
I mean, it's not good, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're completely unnecessary, but all those establishing shots are gorgeous. It really is just the perfect. There's a coziness to the movie because it's so damp and soggy, and everybody looks cold. It just makes you want to bundle up with a blanket on the couch when you're watching it. The giant rats that they built are gorgeous, so freaking cool. And the poster art is at least on. Yeah, I'm looking at the Blu-ray and the DVD. I prefer the poster art on the DVD. On the Blu-ray, it's got a red background. It's the same art. It's one of the rats in a tree for some reason with a woman in a negligee.
Balanced precariously on a branch.
Yeah.
With a lady victim.
And first of all, always got to love any exploitation horror movie where there's something on the cover that never happens in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we love about it.
That's Roger Corman 101. Mm-hmm. But the cover on the DVD, the background is blue, which I think works a lot better because then the glowing red eyes of the rat pop a lot more. But, one taste is all it takes. That's the tagline on the DVD.
It does seem to be a more laborious project than the one taste. I think they're underselling the nature of how, work intensive the Food of the Gods is. None of the animals are just eating it out of the ground. They're all getting it when it's combined with the chicken feed.
Yeah, it's a great point too, because it's we're worried that the jars wound up in the river, that now the cows are drinking, and then the kids are drinking the milk, and it's isn't this shit just coming up out of the ground? We've got bigger problems. She says it herself in the beginning, Mrs. Skinner. She's this is a gift from God. We got this from God. God gave. It's lady, chill out.
How much goop out of the ground is really a gift from God? Name the other goop ground based gifts we've been given.
Name 17. Come on, lady.
Like a dick trying to gatekeep a punk band from a girl wearing a t-shirt. Name their albums. But that brings us, of course, to the best meal of all. And that is when we choose our own death venture. That's where we decide, of the deaths portrayed in this motion picture, if you were forced to die in one of those ways, which one would you choose and why? Up for bid. You can be stung to death by giant wasps. You can be eaten by rats inside a VW Beetle. You can be eaten by rats outside a Jeep. You can be eaten by rats outside a Lincoln Town Car, or you can be eaten by rats inside the kitchen. And Matt, you're our guest, and therefore I choose you to go first.
We've all been to parties, and no matter what's happening in the living room, no matter what's happening in the romp room, in the den, everybody winds up in the kitchen. So if that's where it's going to go down, then that's where it needs to go down.
Now, are you into kicking neckwear? Because Ida Lupino is rocking that sort of neck handkerchief look. Is that something that you feel like you can make work for you?
Oh, 110%. In fact, that look's coming back in a big way.
I can't wait for it, because if there's one thing I want to emphasize, it's my neck. Gina, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to take Mrs. Skinner's death too, because I do like she kind of goes down, swinging more than anybody else does. I like the two men, particularly Farmer Skinner and Bensinger, are just like rats, and they're just like. That's the end of them. Oh no! And that's their launch where she puts up a fight. She kind of lovingly embraces it in its demise, because like the rat's dying too, and it's like its last gasp is biting into her, so it's almost kind of like a little bit of a Nosferatu thing at the end.
They're in a bit of a lover's embrace.
Yeah, like the rat's is laying on top of her.
All I wanted to do was get a nibble in.
Exactly.
But you have to meet Cleaver meat.
So there's a little drama to it. So I want that.
I can totally see that. I definitely don't want to go out like that one guy near the Jeep, because he gets gang tackled, or the VW Beetle. I feel like all of these multiple rat things are so much worse than just getting one big bite to the neck and killing your attacker as you go down. That's the way to go. And live your life like Ida Lupino. Just a bad bitch who's taking down motherfuckers. All praise to her. And so that just about does it. Josh Hollis does all of our artwork. Go to Revenge Body Memphis at bandcamp.com for this theme and all our remixes. Of course, our Patreon has bonus episodes you want to try out. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. It's how we're seen and heard by more people. Matt, where can our audience go and find you out there on the World Wide Web?
Well, I am Matt McCarthy. I am on all forms of social media at McCarthy Redhead. TikTok is the place where I'm the most active, but I post everything from my TikTok onto Instagram and YouTube. And if you like pro wrestling, you can listen to the We Watch Wrestling podcast. New issues post every Wednesday wherever you listen to podcasts. And going to have a stand-up comedy special coming out this year. We're cutting it together right now. That'll be on Pete Holmes's YouTube, and I am touring with Pete Holmes. Check his website, PeteHolmes.com. Most of those towns, I will be there with him as well.
Excellent. And if people have not checked out your Video Garage series, which I look forward to every single day, seeing what you find, because so many of the videotapes you've come across, either by rescuing them or them being sent to you, have this treasure trove of television and movie history on them, that some of it completely lost to time. And just the aesthetics of it all just feels so comforting and so enjoyable to ingest. I just enjoy it from the bottom of my heart. I can't tell you what it means to me.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, I love that. And it's funny, a lot of people say they're like, oh, you must really love the nostalgia. And I'm like, and I've given it some thought. I'm like, that's really not it, because like nostalgia is a longing for the past, whereas I love the ephemera of what's on this tape. There's no good reason we should be able to just randomly see what's happening on 2nd, 1987, when somebody in Des Moines was taping something. But sure enough, here we are watching it. And I just love the old, a movie with commercials taped off of some local channel. Mm-hmm. That's just...
Oh yeah.
That's
I love like watching commercial blocks on YouTube. It's like one of my favorite background noises. So yeah.
And I have my Patreon. People can join that. I post all the VHS tapes in full up on there in a Google Drive, and I send you a membership card to the Video Garage, the video store that I run in my garage.
It's fantastic. People should immediately go and look it up, because it is such a delightful slice of time that you're afforded, and I think your interaction with it and how you present it just really is a damn good time.
Thank you.
Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about television and movies and pop culture at my Substack, GinaWatchesThings.substack.com. And I am on predominantly Blue Sky and Instagram under Gina Does Things.
Do it today, people. Check it out. Don't worry, folks. The animal attack body count will continue. For myself, Matt, and Gina, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye!